All right, a couple of weeks off. Back. G'day, vets crew. Um, yeah, sorry, been out of action away for work for a couple of weeks, but back home today, so back into it. But Adelaide, I'm not going to be overly positive here, and I'm sorry, but shithouse track. I'm not a fan of it. I shouldn't say shithouse track, just not a fan of it. But anyway, um, good challenging track. Does actually make a decent racing track. Tyre deg's quite high, obviously. And there's a couple of spots where you've got immovable objects that you can't afford to make a single mistake. And if you give yourself some room, then you're screwed the other way because you get a slowdown. But anyway, that's enough positivity, negativity, whatever you want to call it. So look, yeah, look, tough track. Really hard to maximise a lap. To be honest with you, underdriving it tends to yield a result versus trying to attack everything. But if you can get through turn one well, then you can attack the rest of the lap pretty decently. A couple of curbs that aren't particularly nice to jump on, and just finding the gear set on this setup just a little bit out of my window, but that's just me. So everyone's got to use the same thing, so there's nothing wrong with the gear ratio. It's just just probably one click out from where I'd run it, but yeah, that's kind of is what it is. Setup wise, I'm really struggling with brakes this week. Just can't get the car to stop without locking fronts. So I'm not sure what the go is there, but the car's got a good turn. It's fairly stable on the rear as well. So overall, it's a nice balanced stock again from Jamie. But yeah, you just get into those things that you personally prefer, but that's irrelevant. So yeah, we'll do what we do. Yeah, we'll jump on a lap. Before we go though, pretty crap news out of the States, obviously, with Kyle Busch passing away unexpectedly. So I know that none of those guys are ever going to watch this, but fucking hell, what an absolutely terribly sad situation for that entire family. So yeah, thoughts to them, but yeah, that's just something I wanted to just say. But let's rock and roll. Let's play a lap through, and then we'll look at it. So 20.59. Couple of pretty solid mistakes on that lap. It was only second lap into the server. So yeah, it's definitely. I think Wayne's done a 19 something. I don't know what he's doing so different to everyone else, but he's got 6/10 I think on everyone. So I don't know if that's one of those servers that don't have the proper setup in it, or what, or if he's just that freaking good, which we know he is. But I don't know where people are going to find 4/10 or 6/10, sorry. But yeah, so yeah, that's an onboard. Like I said, wasn't tidiest of there we go. Wasn't the tidiest of laps by any stretch of imagination. Just running it as at default 64.8 or whatever it is on the bias, throttle map 6, all that crap. But yeah, you can see there was a pretty big rear lock into turn 3. Missed the apex by a mile at the ever impressive what is it, turn 8 or whatever the hell it is. Um, yeah, so a few mistakes, and then under drove it into turn 9. But yeah, it wasn't, like, as I always say, it's not really about a qualifying lap. It's just about a nice clean lap to show you guys what's what. So look, into one, obviously fifth gear. That's pretty obvious. So now you want to be a little bit careful here. You don't want to brake too early because you actually turn the car in a bit too early, just by habit, by force. As the car slows, you want to turn it. But if you try and push too deep, you're just going to get a slowdown. So the turn-in point's pretty critical, to get this right. So I'm braking pretty much near the 100 board, in between the white line and the 100 board. And you want to certainly use as much track width as you can. You're sort of turning in around about the gap in the wall. Now, the later you can turn in here, the better. If you turn in too early, you're slowing. You're getting a slowdown every lap. If you turn in too late, yeah, okay. If you turn in the middle, it's just right. But no, you've got to get this point right because you need to get enough rotation in the car at apex. If you're in early, obviously you're going to push out here. If you turn in late, then you're just going to be wide anyway. So it underdrive it through here until you get your rhythm. And you'll be fine. But yeah, you certainly want to get the car in nice and tight. Left a little bit on the table there, but number one, immovable object. I don't know why they put a fucking concrete wall there, basically. But anyway, yeah. So you definitely want to get the car in nice and tight there. I see if I'll just piss this off altogether. Sorry, I'll stop banging on about it. But I think getting rid of that would improve the racing dramatically. And being a right-hand car, the Porsche around here is actually really good fun because you sit left-hand drive, and this is so much easier to see. You can get through here so much better, but is what it is. So you want to get nice and tight, and obviously coming off here, I don't know what the rule is. Is there? So they don't even have a track. Oh, there you go. Turn 2 slow down. They should just say everyone gets one every lap. Keep half your car on the painted curb to avoid a slowdown. Now, I don't know about you, but half of the car is in the middle, I'm pretty sure. And apparently that's nowhere near that, and I didn't get a slowdown. So this is the thing. It depends where you hit the curb, how you hit the curb, and what angle it is. But, if you can try and, certainly from an onboard point of view, if you can try and have your car, it's still turning that way. If you try and aim for that yellow line sort of in this section here, then you're going to be okay. But anyway, so that was down one gear into fourth. And then obviously you want to pick up the throttle as early as you can, and get the car back to sort of mid-track, depending on how well you get the run through here. So you can just see the car's just pointing a little bit too much that way. Probably could have turned in just a little bit later, a little bit tighter. That, 300 mil, whatever it was that got left. And that's not like, I caught a fish this big, 300 mil. Put it to scale, yeah. But yeah, definitely that little bit of left to the wall translates here. But like I said, better be safe than sorry. So as you come out of here, you sort of hard back on the throttle. And then just in this transition, I just come out of the throttle a little bit just to settle the rear down. A few bumps in and through here, so you just got to make sure you're not exciting the rear. You could get a fifth gear definitely early here as well. But yeah, get up on the curb a little bit, crack fifth as soon as you can. It's a fairly tidy run. Just got to be careful of understeer into this wall as well. Really easy. Really easy. If you get this turn in wrong as well, just to understeer straight out to the wall. So yeah, I'm having a little lift there. Don't know what everyone else feels like doing. Break point here is basically the shadow from an onboard anyway. So bang, Shadowland. So that's what I'm using into here. And you're pretty aggressive down through the gears. Now, again, you want to get the car pointing towards where you want to turn it in. Okay, you want to be braking straight. You don't want to be turning the car whilst you're braking. I say it all the time. So you can see nice and straight on the brakes. Now you can see here, I start to turn the car in. So you just see it just doesn't want to behave in the rear. It's because I'm sort of wanting the car to turn. but you can see it's already starting to go there. So, but decent brake application all the way in. I really wish those lines would stay there no matter what, but anyway. But yeah, pretty solid, decent brake application, modulating over those little humps and bumps. And then, yeah, had a big moment there. But thankfully, the car still rotated well, was able to catch it, and it didn't really cost any time. But definitely, puts a bit of temp in the rear tyre doing that. So pick up the throttle as early as you can on those curbs. Now in here, second gear. There is Yesterday I had a quick little play around with third gear in here, and there may be a little bit of benefit to it. I don't know. It might be something you want to try. The only thing with third gear is you do generate a bit more understeer, so you're probably going to hurt the front tyres in a race. But you are on the limiter for an extended period of time in a couple of these spots. Third gear may gain you a little bit more, but then you've got to slow the car up a little bit more on entry. So something to have a think about. But hard on the throttle. You want to get the car out as close as you can to that wall. Again, I underdrove here. You see on and off the brake pedal. I was actually on the brake a little bit early. So it was a clean run through here, but wasn't what I would call quick. Again, back on the throttle nice and hard. And pointing out towards the wall. It's pretty much once the car gets squared up, you're back on the brakes again. Now, I completely stuffed this up. You can see on the brakes, off the brakes, it was just a very clunky feel. And you can see there I'm way narrow. So you want to really flow and carry as much speed as you can through here. And then out of this little section is, point the car out over the curb, and you want to attack out to the walls that drop away, and then it tapers back here. So you don't want to sit inside the white line here. You want to push the car out as wide as you can. Get it out to the wall, brake it nice, and turn the car in relatively late because you want to be able to get this nice apex. Now, third gear does work pretty well here because you can just get on the throttle hard, and obviously on the exit, you get up over this curb. So you see a little bit of understeer in the middle there. And then I click third, bang, there, just to avoid that wheel spin higher in the RPM range of second. But have, again, played around with going to third there early at the apex. So as you turn the car, once it's in a nice, bang, grab a gear, and you can flow the car out a little bit better. Really straightforward down through yonder. So we'll fast forward this. Now, there's a little bit of a trick here because you want to get the car out to the wall, obviously, but this wall comes in just a little bit more, so you got to be careful. Like I said, you want the car as tight as you can, but if you're right on this wall, there's a chance you're just going to clobber this. So use this as a reference, but really you're aiming for the 100. And at the 100, it's down a gear pretty quick. So you can see, look, the proximity, so I'm on the wall there. So yeah, and that's without changing lines. So just be very careful into here. But 100 board, on the brake, down to fifth gear. I don't know what I did wrong here, but I feel like I've just missed the turning point by a smidge. You can just see just enough there. I probably could have used a little bit more trail brake, but got back to the throttle as early as possible, but I've left way too much there. Problem with that is I've tried to get back on the throttle, and because it's a bit wide, it just induced understeer. So you'll see through the middle here, car's going out towards the wall. So then I come back out of the throttle just to get the rotation in it, and then back in there again. So that cost me about 2/10. What was it, a 5.9 lap? There's 2/10 on the table just there, and there's another 2/10 into the next corner. So should be a low 12, a low 20, maybe a 20.1, 20.2. But yeah, so it's a commitment lap. It is. Consider rolling out of the throttle a little bit earlier as well and let the car flow through here instead of attacking the way that I did. If you're a little bit calmer about it, roll out of the throttle, grab a gear nicely, a little bit of trail brake. You can pretty much get through there without any brake. First yawn for the video. But yeah, so as I said, I just missed that turn in, just a smidge. and that's enough to have these couple of little moments. Now down into here, all right, so still got to the limiter pretty early, so it wasn't awful, but just that little delay in getting into the corner and that little delay on the throttle was enough to hurt speed. Um, Now, up to you. You can hold fifth here or go to sixth. Normally, I would say go to sixth. As you know, I'm a rhythms person, so I want to go to sixth so that I can bang, bang, bang back down. I'm finding fifth here and carrying it in nice and deep is a little bit better as opposed to going to sixth. I should have done a comparison lap actually to see what the speed difference is on the way in, but because you'd be carrying a little bit more speed, you're going to be braking a little bit earlier, and then you're rushing an extra gear. So I don't think fifth is an issue, and I think as tyres degrade, you're not going to get through turn 8 anywhere near as quick as you are when they're fresh. So you're probably not going to be catching the limiter as much anyway. So yeah, definitely fifth gear. And brake point is kind of now broke quite early here. Giro. Yeah, broke quite early. I'd be definitely pushing up to the closer to the 150 board. So as I said, underdrove it. There's been multiple attempts at a lap after this. And whilst I stuff the rest of the lap up, I'm picking up about a tenth and a half to 2/10 in here by braking where I should be, and that's the 150 board. But again, you know, braking a bit early, keeping the car calm, will look after the tyres a little bit better. So just food for thought. So nice, again, as always, try and get consistent braking. So you can see my braking's all over the shop. Now that's because I broke early. So you can see I sort of went, oh shit, I'm early, come off it, and then had to get back into it again. So yeah, not ideal. Turn the car in sort of mid-trackish. You don't want to pitch the car in too early because you get up on the curb early and then it understeers on the exit. So you want to sort of apex around the grey to white, so that as you're coming off, couldn't have got that any better. As you're coming off, the car's shooting off the corner as opposed to understeering out. So you definitely want to, yeah, turn the car in a little bit later. Focus on stopping the car well and straight. And because you can turn the car in a bit later, you can break that a little bit deeper. And that's where I went a little bit wrong. So again, square the car up. Up into third gear. Now this lap, I'm second gear into the next corner, pointing like you can see, but you know, that corner over there. So third gear, and then I pop back down to second here. Now, again, done a couple of laps using third gear here. Car's a lot calmer, and there's roughly another tenth and a half in it by using third gear. Thing with it is you do need to get the car settled and rotated early because third gear you don't have that engine braking and you don't have the rotation in it. So going to second is fine, but you can see it's just unsettled. You can see just everything about it is just awkward. And then when you get back on the throttle, it takes you a while to get back to full throttle again because second gear. So try both, but you do have to change your approach a little bit as to how you get into this corner. And like I said, third gear, it takes away that opportunity for rear lock and a bit of slide. You just need to be a little bit more patient and balanced on the brake into here. So try both, see what works for you. And yeah, you never know. That may third gear may be the answer, second gear may be the answer. It just depends on your driving style. But you definitely want to get over the curb. I didn't maximise enough here. You don't want to get deep here, like too much over because you get a double hop and then the car's unsettled and shoots out towards the tyre wall. But yeah, you definitely want to get a little bit more than I've got there. You want to get these a little bit further over so that you sort of grey, you know, this one here to this one here. And the car will hop that quite nice. Like I say, the dampeners in the car are pretty good, so it will ride that curb quite nicely. And then yeah, picking up that throttle as soon as you can, and obviously, a bit deceiving here. These tyres just suck the car in, so obviously don't touch them because it will just spit the car around. And yeah, we all saw what happened. I think I can't remember if it was split one or a different split last season or whatever it was in vets, but rather large accident here. So if you're in third, you're in third, you're second, but same concept. So get the car rotated up on, get it up over the curb. And obviously the tighter you are up on the curb, you're squaring it up, you can, keep that throttle on. See a lot of people kicking up dirt here. I'm getting near it. I can see a lot of, when you're in sim, obviously. I can see a lot of tire marks here. I don't know about that, but yeah, use the curb a little bit to get the car rotated. Balance the throttle nicely. Get the car well up over the curb here on top. Again, you can use a little bit more than that. And then it's a tricky little braking zone here, especially, again, as I said, the only thing I'm not a fan this week of is the brake setup in it. I don't know why the cylinders aren't any different. So it's, not really anyway. A lot of front bias in it. But we've seen front bias work well on these cars. I think it's just a street track, low grip, and a couple of bumps. But yeah, definitely, carry that throttle past the white line, and then you're down a gear pretty early, and then down a gear again. And you want to get the car right out to the to the track limit on the outside. And again, a little bit like turn 9. You can see I'm angling in just a little bit because there's not a lot of grip here. But I'm probably just a bit early. But you want to get the car in and apexed fairly late, so that you can square the car up nicely. It's definitely a second gear exit. And just nice and progressive all the way on the throttle until you're confident that you can use all of the throttle, and yeah, that will be a 20.59. So, like I said, it's not the cleanest lap in the world, but it's clean enough. And yeah, if you can avoid that tyre bundle, your night's going to be much better. And don't, like, early on, be smart, yeah? Like, really easy to get a slowdown lap 1, lap 2, and it's going to be a big slowdown. If you're too wide there, make sure you give the car on the outside plenty of room, because you wouldn't want them to get a slowdown there. But yeah, if anyone's brave enough to go too wide through there on lap 1, they deserve it. So, yeah, just be smart on those first couple laps. That's all I will say. And look after the tyre. Avoid, see, it didn't look nice there, did it? Yeah, avoid sliding the car around too much. It's going to be a frustrating track in the sense that once tyres start wearing, it is hard to pass. But there's still some really good opportunities as well. Really focus on that pit exit as well, by the way. It's tight, so have a think about that. I think last year a few cars got stuck there. The entry's really tight there, obviously, and getting in is really tight. So undercut's going to be pretty big, but the overcut will equally be as big. So anyway, that's this week's video at Adelaide. Good luck, everyone, and hopefully see you on track. See you.